Say yes, Sally.
Yeah.
My name is Greg Gus, and I am the son of Curtis Gus and Annelle Gus, who owned the store in our family for 56 years. Francis Orr was founded in what we can track back to 1924. We believe, there are certain members that believe it was founded in 1922. It started in Little Santa Monica in the 9000 block, and then in 1929 it moved to 349 Beverly Drive, and then in 1941 it moved to 351 North Rodeo Drive, which is now Gucci's. Gucci's wanted to expand. Gucci's was a tiny little store in Beverly Hills in the 70s, early 70s. They wanted to expand. They moved Francis Orr and Jurgensen's, which was a luxury market. Francis Orr came over here to Camden, 320 North Camden, in 1974. And in 1974, Jurgensen's went over to Crescent. And Gucci's, hence, has had the spot ever since. And that's how Gucci's got their space and how we ended up here. Francis Orr is started by two ladies, Estelle Orr and Estella Francis, hence you get the name Francis Orr. And when my father purchased it in 1961, he kept the name, bought the name, and we've kept it ever since. In the 60s, or late 50s, my father had joined LA Country Club, and he had met some members that had said to my father, "This store is for you." And my father said, "What do I want and need with a stationery store in Beverly Hills?" He was a CPA, and his trade was a CPA, and they said, "You'll be perfect for it." And as life goes on, my father, Curtis Gus, has purchased many businesses, fixed them, turned them around, sold them. Francis Orr happens to be, or the only one that he purchased, and family members have come in and run the store, and it has stayed with us, or with him, for 56 years. My grandmother was the first to run it, my mother ran it, my sister ran it, and now I have run the store. My mother is the one that really made this store what it is, starting in the 70s all the way through to the 90s, and she created an atmosphere within this store that took it from being a commercial stationer's to being a high-end stationer's and gift store. And the merchandise that we have always found has been quality at a fair price. And there are a number of factors that fall into play as to why we are leaving Beverly Hills for right now. One is what Rodeo has become. Rodeo is a tourist street now. It's extremely high end, as well as rents on Camden Drive are getting very, very expensive. And the type of business that Francis Orr, which is a stationery and gift business, does not warrant the Beverly Hills rents today. The changes that Beverly Hills has gone through, it makes it impossible, or it makes it very difficult for the small town, the small sole proprietor to do business. You can't afford the rents, and I like to say, if I were to change the store to make it survive in Beverly Hills and really do its thing, well then a photo album or a date book would be $1,000 instead of a beautiful leather date book for $100. And that's basically what Beverly Hills has become. Saturday morning in Beverly Hills, before lunch, you might have numerous stars come into the store, and they would sit and talk and be seen in Beverly Hills, and they would network their rounds and make their rounds through Beverly Hills, and this is how they got out and made sure they were seen, like people like Joan Crawford and Clark Gable. They were all customers of the store. When this store was built and finished in 1974, the very first customer that came into the store and stood right in the doorway over here was Sammy Kahn. And he took one look at the store and said, "This is the future. You guys are going to be here forever." One of the special things about this store is the woodwork. It was built almost 50 years ago. It is a timeless look. I think that is one of the very special things about this store. The other customer that I loved was Elizabeth Montgomery. And she, again, if she came into the store and needed help or anything, it was as if you were talking to your neighbor next door. And so I've always really remembered and appreciated those two. But there are many, many others, from doing all the binders for Jerry Lewis and the telethons that he used to do. Every year we talked to Jerry Lewis and his crew, and it was, "Greg, make up the binders for the telethon," and he did the exact same binders every year from a company we dealt with for many, many years. I'm going to say at least 20 plus years, more than that, I'm sure. But we still have customers today that come in with things that we had made for them 30, 40 years ago. And one of the great things, or not great, but what we love to hear when somebody comes in and says, "My mother got her wedding invitations here, I got my wedding invitations here, and now my daughter is going to get her wedding invitations here," or with birth announcements. And so we got a customer, when we had a customer that came to us, it could be a lifetime thing. And so therefore, I started working at the store when I was a teenager, and there are customers today that knew me when I was a teenager.
That's gotta be great.
There are a number of families where multiple members have worked at the store, and we appreciate that, every bit of it. What we got out of, what we received out of those people were class and fun and knowledge, and as well as they gained from us too.
So what are you gonna do with the stuff that's left, Greg?
We are going to mostly donate a lot of it. We will donate to schools. We like to help the children, so we're putting together a bunch of donation boxes that maybe we can help the kids in the school rummage sales or in the art class and that kind of thing. Other than that, pretty much everything is sold. So the history of Francis Orr, just to show you the clientele of Francis Orr and how many customers we've had over the years. And in my family, it's been 56 years, which was also my father's very first business. And he never changed anything. We kept all records, same way that they did it back in the 70s, 60s, 50s, we do today, literally the same exact way. We're not computerized, and everything's done by hand. House charts written by hand. filing and looking up of an order by hand. We always kind of refused to put the computer into play because we felt that it took away from the customer service end of it and the employee and their knowledge of the store. Look at all the different customers. I mean, these drawers are all full of the customers that have come to the store. Now these are engraving plates that are used. Don't do close-ups on them. I mean, that right there is Don Steele. That has to be cut out.
Who has to be cut out?
If you get a name close up in this,
No, I can't see the names.
yeah, we'll see on the editing. Some of these dies go back to the 20s. It's going to be stored and put away. It's going to stay within the family right now, and at some point we will sit down, organize it all to the point where we can tell the stories, write a book or something about it, base. But these are, if you make a certain drawer, you were somebody famous in Beverly Hills, and most likely these drawers and all these drawers, you were deceased. They're deceased at this point. But these will be past customers. So we have 10,000 dies in here. We've always been encouraged to go on and do other things, and don't just let Francis Orr be your goal. Let your goals be a lot higher. My most favorite consistent place in Beverly Hills has always been the Grill. They are the nicest, another family business, and the Grill will always make me whatever I want. Walter's on Rodeo. Had many breakfasts there. Trader Vic's. When the store was moved here in 1974, I think I was 15 years old, my pay for helping my dad and moving everything from Rodeo over here was something from Kerr's Sporting Goods. I learned to drive in the alley back here, and my dad would come and scrub the sidewalks on Rodeo Drive while my brother and I would drive a column shift van up and down the driveway, the alleyway in the back. Jurgensen's Market, I grew up climbing in Jurgensen's old refrigerator. My brother and I would earn a Coke if we climbed back in the refrigerator and pulled out whatever they needed back there. Hunter's Books, and got many books from there. When Abercrombie and Fitch came to Beverly Hills, you had to go over there and see the type of toys that they had, and you would have to go to Sharper Image and look at all their toys. The Brown Derby, these wonderful stores that you remember. I remember Giorgio's used to spray perfume out their door. And if you wanted to shop at Giorgio's, and the driver would come and pick you up, and Giorgio's had a bar in it that you would go entertain. That type of retail you don't see anymore, and it's dying. And that's what our customers have said. There's nobody like you. No one has ever done it like you. What are we going to do for this, that, and this? And hopefully I can reinvent and take it into the future and do it through the online, and then we'll see what happens to retail. I do not think that retail is going away. I think there is always going to be the people that want to shop within a store. It is time that Francis Orr becomes a part of the Beverly Hills history. I would like to think that it's up there with these wonderful stores that you remember from the past.